how did you think of starting this new company, this new venture?
Yeah.
A year when quite literally the world changed thanks to COVID. What was that first year of work like?
Company started honestly with, there was no plan. See, I've always been a person who believes in execution first. I don't make very detailed plans, and whenever I've made very detailed plans, I've always failed.
Have you watched the movie Her?
Dot makes me feel like my girlfriend.
Hi. How you doing?
Voice is still not of Scarlett Johansson, so till the time that doesn't happen, I'm good.
What are some of the things that you've used which makes you say that AI is in its worst state?
AI is the worst that it ever can be. It will only get better from here. So imagine at its worst, AI can generate confusing results. It is already scary.
AI in advertisements, companies and brands, especially in the West, are so gung-ho about AI usage.
If you don't hop onto a technological train fast enough, you're going to be left behind.
Creative industry is cutthroat competitive.
Nikhil Kamath said this, like any industry where passionate people are there, you should not enter. I am very passionate about the work that I do. Creators will create IPs, create TV-like shows, and I truly think that YouTube is the next TV.
Welcome to India's Got Talent! Are we ready to start the show?
He's a creator, an angel investor, very successful entrepreneur, a podcaster himself, and a storyteller par excellence. He created his first video at the age of 13 and then went on to create Owl Media, which is now one of India's biggest media companies. We are talking about Ayush Wadwa. From starting freelance for as little as 1500 rupees per video during his college days at BITS Pilani to now training freelancers across India to earn 1 lakh per month. Ayush Wadwa is quite literally a trendsetter. So guys, watch this podcast till the very end to know what will absolutely transform India's creator economy and India's film industry too. So, lights, camera, action.
Ayush, such a pleasure to have you here. A very, very warm welcome to the Hot Seat by A Media House.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be doing this.
I want to ask you that for any person, for any creative person, the childhood plays a very, very important role. The way they see content, the way they see cinema, the way they want to create content. So let's take a little bit of a trip down memory lane and tell us, how was your childhood like?
It was pretty nice. Grew up in a middle class house, however, never had lack of, I never lived in a lot of scarcity, and that was good. I always had access to a good school. My mother was very studious back in her time, so she made sure that me and my sister study a lot. My father ran a business. He always wanted us to do jobs. So my sister became a doctor, I became an engineer. The vision and the dream that my parents set for me was very simple. We saw that there is a 1 CR job that somebody got in the newspaper. The way to get that is to crack IIT. So you must crack IIT. And the best doctors are in AIIMS, so my sister must crack AIIMS. So our path was set for us. There was not much thinking that we did to set our dreams. I realized much later in life that I was living somebody else's dream for a really long period of time. But I was an obedient kid. I was simple. I was this lean kid who was not great at sports, not great at like a lot of extracurriculars. So I ended up just following my parents' orders and being like, okay, I'm going to study. And I ended up loving, the subjects. I loved maths. I loved physics. I loved most of the subjects that I studied. So yeah, studied and cracked IIT, but did not get I wanted to be in the Delhi campus. Thank God I was not. But no, jokes apart, I didn't get Delhi, like a good branch. Somebody told me there's this place called BITS. Ended up in BITS, but childhood was good. I started my first company, interestingly, back in school.
Wow. Tell us about that.
So I was 13 and the trigger was very simple. I had a lot of time at my hands and I have this thesis around people coming second. The most motivated people in life are the people who come second, not the people who come first. Because the people who come second, they see the win very closely. वो finishing line देखते हैं and they see the person coming first was just probably like a second ahead of them, right? So they are very motivated because they've come second. They're also skilled. It's not like they are people who are not skilled.
True.
So they're high on skill, they're high on intent, They've seen the win right in front of their eyes but have not gotten it. So they have a fire in them. And I feel throughout life I've come second a lot of times. And let's look at Rohtak as it's going to sound very philosophical, but look at Rohtak's location. It's right next to Delhi. Delhi is as developed as it gets, right? And Rohtak, although over the last 10 years has grown a lot, back when I was a kid, it was a tiny town, but just 60 minutes away from Delhi. So I used to get so envious because 60 minutes would change somebody's life. 60 minutes, great schools. 60 minutes, people have all the facilities. They are playing all the fanciest of the sports, all the facilities that can help them grow as a student or a professional or a better human. And here I am in a school जहाँ पे लोग bench पे compass मार रहे हैं. मतलब English medium school है, but लोग बात मतलब किसी को English नहीं आती है. क्या कुछ भी हो रहा है मतलब it was just random. And I'm like, what is happening?
ये कुछ भी किसी को भी इंग्लिश नहीं आती है, सिर्फ स्टूडेंट्स तक ही सीमित था या टीचर्स
किसी को नहीं आती है, बता रहा हूँ, मतलब इतना रैंडम था. And it was, I thought यही होता है. This is how English medium schools are, that it is English medium but everyone speaks in Hindi, nobody's. So I'm like, what is this, man? Like, I was so envious growing up. So that gave me a lot of motivation. Second driver was my family had their own share of ups and downs, and I sensed that financially we are not doing as well. But people don't share, like your parents will not share with a 13-year-old, hey, by the way, there is a financial, like True. They will shield you from these. But I think I had a fair sense of empathy growing up because of how my parents raised me. So I could sense. So that was another trigger. Thankfully, the second trigger was solved very soon in family. But these two triggers ended up leading me to start the company. The idea was very simple. We literally Googled, when I say we, there was another person called Madhur. So we literally Googled how to make money online. And whatever the blogs said, we tried everything, whether that's affiliate marketing, when making websites, doing like niche blogging and making money through AdWords, making videos. So I tried a bunch of things, made money on a couple of them, but eventually we discovered tech as a niche had a lot of money. So we ran a tech blog, we made tech videos, and at our peak, we were making 6 lakhs a year. As a company, which is not a lot, of course, but
then I'm thinking from a 13-year-old point of view.
As a 13-year-old, it would after like all the deductions, cutting, paying the so-called interns we by the way had college interns.
Wow.
I have a video online which is still live of a 14-year-old me, oddly, making a hiring video that, hey, I'm hiring. It has some 300 views and we got applications. But sort of coming to the point, that was the start, and making 10,000-15,000 a month was, I think it was wonderful. What it does to a 13-year-old making 10,000-15,000 a month is not, hey, look, I'm making money now, I can do whatever I want to. What it does is it opens up a door for a person living in a small town, that there is a world beyond engineering, becoming a doctor, becoming a CA, becoming a lawyer, which is not yet explored in the Indian ecosystem. This is pre-YouTube era in India. This is pre-Jio. This is pre-Tanmay Bhatt's Prajakta Kohli is becoming like who they are right now. It gave me an opportunity to understand that, you know what, this can be a potential career. So did that for 2-3 years. Then 11th, 12th came and studied for college and then went to college. College, I tried a bunch of things, and then the rest of the journey is. But this was the start of the entrepreneurial Kida.
Term that you mentioned, storyteller, this is something that you speak about a lot. This is something that you mentioned about yourself a lot. So when did that start? Like, was this a piece of cinema, or was this दादा या दादी से जो कहानियां हम सुनते थे? What led to this? ये इसकी शुरुआत कहाँ से हुई?
So movies. My mother would make sure every Friday we would watch a Bollywood movie, and no matter how good or bad the movie is, we would go and watch it. Some weeks were bad, some weeks were great, but I started loving the act of watching a movie because you know how the entire family comes together, it's wholesome. That's why my favorite snack is a popcorn, So throughout when we were children, we would watch like movies every Friday. And I spoke about this in one of my talks. I remember this moment very vividly. Shah Rukh Khan is one of my favorite actors. And do you remember the moment, when Shah Rukh Khan does like his action and suddenly the entire room feels the same emotion, You may not be able to talk about what that emotion is, but everyone's feeling something like that when the music plays. Have you seen Avengers, like Endgame?
Of course.
Do you remember the scene in Endgame when all the Avengers come together and Captain America says Avengers assemble.
Assemble.
Goosebumps, right?
Proper goosebumps.
There is something in that.
And everybody collectively feels that.
Collectively in the same moment. Nobody is speaking to each other, but that one frame that when everything comes together, it makes you feel that something's in this, right? That's storytelling. And I realized that this is so powerful. I want to be that person to be able to tell those stories which can truly make the person in front of me happy, excited, energetic, have those goosebumps. And I'm like, wow, this is what I want to do in life. Now, again, I don't know a deeper reason. I've thought about this and even spoken about this multiple times, but I truly, honestly, I think I'm bluffing. But I just love the feeling of being able to tell stories to captivate somebody, to make sure I'm being able to explain a thought so nicely that it brings a goosebump, to the person sitting in front of me. So, yeah, that's why I speak about storytelling so much.
Which was your first video that went viral?
I think virality technically, merely to 26,000 views was also viral. I've had two moments of peak, even though we've had more viral moments, but these two moments changed life in a very meaningful way. There was a phone called Samsung Galaxy Grand. Samsung had launched a phone for the under 20,000 odd bracket, and we used to review tech. And it was a big deal to have a big phone, but under like a reasonable price. And we had quickly uploaded a review of that. And that got like a lot of views. I think 2 lakh views. Still not viral by today's standards, but oh my God, we were jumping. We have 2 lakh views on this. Second moment of virality is crores of views on this video that I shot in 2020. It was a video of Saraswati Mandir in Bitspilani. It's a beautiful video. By the way, there's a story to it. The mandir has a phenomenon where during sunset, the light falls in such a way that there's a perfect distribution of yellow light and shadow.
Wow.
And I caught it randomly while flying around. I'm like, this is so beautiful. I have to capture it one day. Luckily, the day I captured it, the next day was when the lockdown was announced.
Ooh.
So I was super lucky. I uploaded the clip a couple of months later. Michael Jordan shared it. Earth, which is the largest travel, one of the largest or the largest page, shared it. Incredible India's most viewed video for about 3 years or so. I was interviewed by a bunch of people and I was like, oh wow, this is what virality is, right? Like true virality. I've lost count of how many pages reshared it. We once made an Excel sheet of the pages and I think we were at 40 something. And each time a page would upload it, it would hit 1 million views minimum. And some pages at 20 million, 25 million views. So it was a huge moment. I still sometimes go back to the video and realize that this was amazing, So yeah.
Do you think there's a formula to virality?
Yeah, I've actually discussed this many times. I do think there's a formula to virality, but depends, right? Like when we're discussing virality, in what context, right? And virality is now overused as a term, especially in the marketing community where everyone speaks about virality. But anything goes viral when there is some type of FOMO, right? Like let's take a step back. When does something become viral? When everyone's talking about it. Imagine you, me, and 4 other people are sitting, and I'm like, "Hey, have you heard Gangnam Style?" You're like, "Yeah," and you have not. True. What will you do? You will immediately go home. You will not tell these guys that you don't know what this thing, but you will make sure you consume that piece of content really, really fast, and that is what lead to the network effects and everyone. Or another thing that leads to virality is a great example is Clash of Clans. Virality does not just exist in content, but it also exists in games.
Yep.
Because there are leagues, everyone's talking about it. There was a time when Clash of Clans was the rage. I don't know if you played it ever, but people hopped onto it because everyone was a part of it. Everyone was discussing slangs. Everyone was discussing game speak, which is things that are only known to people who play the game. And suddenly you're like, I need to hop on this bus.
No, I agree.
So,
I'm so sorry to cut you in the middle of that. I agree with what you're saying, and not just for games.
Yeah.
Half the people who started watching Game of Thrones started like this because a part of 6 friends, 2 haven't watched it and they would just not be able to be part of the conversation.
Correct.
And then they'd go back and they'd start watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Love the first 6 seasons, hated the last 2. But yeah, so I get what you mean totally. The
Correct.
FOMO bit.
So now coming to the formula, right? There's a very good book called Hooked. It's become a very popular book by Niriyal. He speaks about a lot of fundamentals. But if I have to make it really simple, right? if you truly want to make something for the sake of virality, make it very, very shareable. Not every piece of content is shareable. People think that here I made a great piece of content, I put in a lot of hard work and soul into it, but it's not shareable.
True.
Right? Something is shareable when? Something is shareable when you wanna feel smart. So I will share a really smart video of an entrepreneur speaking about some smart thing on my story because see, I watch him. I am listening to Brian Chesky by Airbnb. So something that makes you feel smart, it's shareable. Something which is a shared experience. A lot of travel videos people share a lot because they would share it with their friends. Ki, hey, let's go here, blah, blah, blah.
Aspirational.
Aspirational, right? Then anything which can be executed together. Instead of travel, like a lot of friends shared videos of Loco Bear with me, which was an experience in Kormangla, Bangalore, right? Something that you can do with other people. So there are like countless examples, but if I had to truly make it super simple, can you think long and hard about this content piece becoming very, very shareable? Now, as obvious as it sounds, no brand does it. You look at a brand, make my logo bigger. Talk about my brand. Why is this thing not have my brand features? But this needs to have my tagline, which I thought of by giving an agency 1 crore rupees. Arey, good. Glad that you did that. But don't do it in every content piece. You can't expect virality while also plastering every single creative with a big brand name, some agenda. Keep things subtle. So shareability, if you can crack it, you crack virality.
Tell us a little about the entrepreneurial journey which started during college itself and which kind of paved the way to Owled.
I feel when I went to college, I got a lot of FOMO in my first year around product companies. See, when you're in bits, you see a lot of people raising millions of dollars. Swiggy just went IPO and it's a huge movement for our country. Shreya is from Bits Pilani, who's one of the founders. So I thought that the path to success is actually not media. The path to success is building a product company, which may very well be true, right? Because most of the large companies are not service-led like ours. And I tried it, not as a founder, but I joined a couple of teams, saw my friends do it. I just never felt, that I'm at the right place. Instinctively, you know that you're at the right place. I never felt it, at least back in the day, which made me become very, very sure that, whatever I do needs to be in the space of storytelling or media or marketing. So initially, I realized, okay, what are the things you can do in media? First, of course, movies come to your mind. So thought of building something in movies, realized, okay, this is really hard. Movie industry is very, very messed up. But advertising is interesting because in advertising, you apply both left and right brain. It is a lot more analytical, not just creative. Karte did a bunch of experiments, became a freelancer, did freelancing for many years. I actually started freelancing technically back in school itself. But back in the day, our projects were not as big. But in college, now I had access to other cities. I could travel. I had my own PAN card. Matlab, back in the day, wo to mummy ke PAN card mein payment lete the. Matlab, but jokes aside, that unlocked a lot of things. And over the course of the next 3, 4, 5 years, went to Bombay and worked with large brands, GoPro, Thomas Cook, Navratna Tel, all kinds of people he worked with. And realized, okay, now I've gotten a lot of learnings, but we were stuck at a revenue figure. And when I say we, it was just me and one intern that I would hire, right? So freelancing is amazing that way. So we were stuck at a revenue figure. I'm like, the only way to now scale this further is either I increase my prices as a freelancer, which is one way to go about it, or I open an agency. And I always realized I had become better at sales. I had become better at people. I had become better at interfacing. So I realized, might as well become an agency owner and sell services. So started this company called Motion Trooper back in 2019, which failed. We had a lot of interesting travel contracts. I was just about to take a flight to Malaysia to shoot a really interesting resort for Malaysia Tourism, and I'm forgetting the name, Travel Triangle. I don't know if the company still exists, but मैं जाने ही वाला था, and then pandemic hit. अगर मैं चला जाता तो मैं फंस जाता मलेशिया में, but पता नहीं मैंने for some reason I listened to my parents and did not go. But that started and ended the entrepreneurial journey pre-Owled. Then 6 months break and then started Owled.
6 months break, but you then started Owled in 2020.
Yeah.
A year when quite literally the world changed thanks to COVID.
Yeah.
How did you think of starting this new company, this new venture during that year? What was that first year of work like?
It was amazing actually. And surprisingly, for our industry, pandemic was very good. As bad as it sounds, pandemic was great to our industry because all the traditional brands, everyone realized the power of digital. They realized अभी नहीं कर सकता मैं बाहर billboard पे जाके अभी कौन ही है बाहर. So digital truly became like there was one wave which came between 2012 to 2015 where a lot of large digital agencies in country came in and they became really big. And I feel another wave came in during the pandemic. And I was always very digital first. So that gave us a huge boost. But the company started honestly with, there was no plan. See, I've always been a person who believes in execution first. So I don't make very detailed plans. And whenever I've made very detailed plans, I've always failed. But I feel कि फटाफट से कुछ experiment करो, चला तो ठीक है वरना scrap कर दो. ठीक है, that because the time that you save in that is much more valuable. So throughout those 6 months, I did not stop working. मैं थोड़ा edits कर रहा था, freelance कर रहा था because pandemic में लोग edits तो करवा ही रहे थे. मतलब shoot नहीं होते इतने, but people were shooting things at their house, sending to editors, and edit was my core skill. I made a set of LUTs. There are these color grading LUTs which the person who was editing will apply. I sold these online on Gumroad, made like a few $1,000 every month. So मैं कुछ hustle तो मार ही रहा था, right? I was like, I will not stop. And within this, I will find something. By the way, fun fact, I started my podcast back in June 2020. I started this
online podcasts.
Online podcast. It was called Cup Noodles to Career. The first episode went live around sometime around May end or June-ish. So whatever I could do in the time that I had, I did it. And during this time, I found Ankur Warikoo. And he was making very different pieces of content. He was not, right now he's become more of a self-help kind of a content creator, but he was making entrepreneurial videos. And I always felt that I was a bad entrepreneur. I was not a great one. I was a great freelancer, but not a great entrepreneur. So I thought if I have a great mentor, I could become like really well, good at that. So I wrote him an email pointing out that how his videos content is amazing, but the quality is bad. And I can help you. Borderline offensive email now that I look back. But he was kind enough to reply within a few hours. Ended up signing him as a client, and that became a huge project. That project was so large that I could not have serviced it alone. Hence a team, hence Owl, hence the work that you see now. Of course, things have changed a lot since then, but there was no plan. It was just sheer execution, and I lucked out.
What you said, okay, whenever you've planned things, you're not much of a believer in planning. Instantly reminds me of this dialogue from one of the best international films I've watched in the last 10 years, maybe. Parasite had this dialogue where the father tells the kid, okay, son, don't plan, because whenever you plan, it never works out. So just don't plan. Something very, very intriguing, fascinating you used to do when Owl was a one-person company. You used to do it with the emails, especially with the reply emails. Please tell us about that.
It's weird. I've now also gotten some hate for it, but I'll tell you.
Really?
The internet is sensitive these days. People are becoming, I think everyone's becoming so sensitive.
Can we use the word woke? Over woke?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like everyone, even in workforce, everybody is becoming like, it almost feels like everyone's just ready to be offended. Aaj to main jaunga office offend hone.
Offend hone.
Like, I feel sometimes they want to be offended,
Have you watched Office?
Yeah, I love Office.
I love Office.
Yeah.
I really think Office agar aaj aaya hota, half the people would love it, but half the people would just bash every episode.
Be offended on so many things. And this is rather spoken by a lot of Hollywood directors as well, that we can't make movies, the comedy movies the way we used to.
Exactly.
I understand why, but yeah, I mean, see, some things were problematic and have been problematic, but sensitivity to everything is just also very tricky. But anyway, coming to the point, what I would do is, see, I feel in punching above your weight. So and I keep telling it to team members, Rishikesh is here, right? So I will always, Rishikesh was the sole editor, but day zero, I came in, I'm like, you are leading a team of 10 people. Think like that, जब तक तो वो नहीं सोचेगा तब तक आएगा नहीं. Just he made his first hire now, who is joining, I think he joined today, right? Like he joined today.
Lovely.
So now he's 1 to 2 in about 3 months, and I know it'll become 10 also very soon. So we're building a separate team for sort of my brand, right? I always believe in punching above my weight, and I never liked that, the way industry works. Industry has a lot of gray hair, and sadly, what gray hair do to you, it makes you a bit judgmental, and you start judging people by things apart from skill. Now, some games you have to play according to the industry. Like, I dress a certain way to my meetings because that's the way people dress. I don't question too much whether, hey, I'm going to wear an oversized t-shirt to an HDFC Bank meeting. I don't. One of those things was that if you appear a very small company, big brands don't want to work with you. Even if you have all the potential, all the skill set to service them. I was very clear. It's not like I'm a novice in the industry. I've already worked with the largest brands. I already have a super portfolio that I can service the best of you. But this company that I'm running today is small. So I always wanted the person in front of me to only judge me by my skill. And to give an impression of a large company, I had a lot of names. So I had these 4 employees. Preeti was one, so mostly T, so Swati, Preeti, ऐसे करके मैंने उसको नाम बना रखे थे, तो मैं ही रिप्लाई करता था, उनकी उन्हें ईमेल आईडी बना रखी थी, तो yeah, that worked out pretty well.
Thanks and regards, Preeti. Thanks and regards,
100%. I mean, I would also, I would like to believe I was smart, but I would also change the tonality. I would not write the same way that I would go to so much. देखो, जब तुम्हारी लाइफ में काम होता है तो तुम ऐसी लोनली हो, ठीक है, मतलब ऐसे कुछ करने को तो है नहीं तुम्हारे पास, तो अब तुम इन्हीं चीजों पे टाइम स्पेंड करोगे कि हाउ कैन आई मेक दिस ईमेल परफेक्ट so that we appear as a company that has more than one employee.
About a year back, I was doing a podcast with Ranveer. He was the guest. I was the host. I said the podcaster becomes the podcastee. And even he had mentioned, and this is something that Tanmay has also mentioned, not with me, but in a different show, that they also face this lack of attention during their childhoods. So what is it that this lack of attention bit can play a role in the careers? And do you think it has in some way played a role in your career as an entrepreneur as well?
100%. See, being a creator is so simple today. Most of us have a smartphone. If you're consuming content, you have a smartphone, which means you're capable of being a creator. So the TAM of somebody being able to become a creator is really high. Being a creator is the easiest way to say something online. There will be somebody listening to you. I don't know if you've ever gone too deep in Reddit. All types of human beings on Reddit. And there are all types of communities. You will find a tribe. What you did not get when you were growing up is something that you can find online. You didn't have friends who relate with you growing up. It's fine. Go to Reddit. Become a contributor there. Become a creator. Talk about it with your audience. Even if there are 10 people, it's better than 0. And you will find an audience. So firstly, content creation unlocks that ability for you to, if you did not get attention, for you to get attention. It can get, of course, very negative as well, but we won't get there. What it does to your career, at least what it did to me, content creation has made me very confident as a speaker. It has made me very confident as a person. And when you become a content creator, one of the most underrated skill that you over time learn is the ability to put forth your thoughts very clearly. Because if you truly want to become a good content creator, you have to fit things in a limited time, in a limited format. True. Whether it's the Twitter or X's word limit, or whether it's Instagram's 90-second limit, or whether it's the YouTube Shorts limit. Even in a long form YouTube video, you have to optimize that in the beginning. I'm speaking the right things the right way. And this skill is invaluable. In sales, it's invaluable. In client servicing roles, in any role where you're speaking to a high value individual, if you can layer and structure your thoughts in a very articulate fashion, least words leading to the most impactful, impact, it just creates a really, really long lasting impression in front of the person that you're pitching to. So I think it's hugely beneficial to anybody who's in interfacing roles.
This question that I want to ask you, if you want, you can keep the answer to this short.
Yeah.
Do you think Gen Z struggles with the same as well? Like if they were growing up and they were getting lack of attention during their childhood days, do you think they also face this problem while during their work days? Or do you think they are, मतलब वो परे है इस problem से?
पता नहीं, मुझे लगता है जेनजीज को काफी प्रॉब्लम तो है लाइफ में. मतलब So there are very interesting stats on Gen Z, and उनकी गलती नहीं है, मतलब they've also gone through many things that, like if you look at a Gen Z, right? Gen Z's the maximum age would be 27 of a Gen Z category, correct? They've gone through so many things. They've not experienced, but they were part of the dot-com crash. Then they were part of the 2008 global financial crisis. Then they saw COVID. So this generation has gone through quite a lot, which has impacted the jobs that they're getting, the opportunities that they're getting, everything. Second, especially in context of India, things have changed. They have seen most of their parents live in a very survival mode. Now they're like, chalo theek hai, मेरे basic चीजें are sorted. They've also become smarter thanks to internet. So they know कि basic things you can sort, right? So they are aiming for luxuries, which means they will call out things at a job much more than their parents would. So because they've become more informed, when you become more informed, you also become more informed of the problems. When you become more informed of the problems, you also become more worried. You also become more anxious. You also potentially, you attract more mental health trouble because of the abundance of information that you have. So it's not that person's fault. It's just timing, the world we are living in, a lot of extrinsic elements. So I don't know the answer to your question, but I do know there's a study which talks about how Gen Zs are not as close to their families as they were. Fun fact, Gen Zs, I don't know if it's true in India's context, but it is 100% true in the world's context. I don't know if I can say this, but Gen Zs are having less sex than the generation before. They are less social than the generation before. They spend less time socializing, but they care more about social issues. So there are very interesting studies. I by the way, get this data from Visual Capitalist, which is a website that I love. So if anybody wants to check it. So these are very interesting stats. So this generation is spending more time on their phones. They are not socializing as much. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if they are away from these problems. I in fact think they are aware of more problems and they have taken more problems in their bucket. Some because of timing, some because of people around, all of that. Yeah.
The things that you mentioned, not being able to spend or just not spending as much time with family,
Yeah.
not going out and socializing, having less time for partners, having less sex. Do you think this is the main cause behind that?
100%. Not just this, but I think just technology. It's so easy to be satisfied today. Games have become so good. I would, as a kid, even like people who were elder to me when I was growing, technically I'm also a Gen Z because I'm just at the cusp of millennial and Gen Z. But people who are elder to me, they would get a lot of satisfaction. वो पहले cycle चला के ground में जाते थे. They would play cricket there, then come back. So it was a long loop. The satisfaction would come when you would get batting, and then when you're done fielding, done bowling, or batting ka time. And so you see the time to get to that point where you would get ultimate satisfaction so high. I don't do that. Ask Rishikesh. I carry a console with me to office. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like when I get 15 minutes and I play a quick game because stress buster. I have given myself that satisfaction so quickly. Access to content. Back in the day, you would go hustle and find this pirated CD in your local store, and then you would come back home, wait for it to load and do whatever in your CD player. Then on this Dabba TV, then watch the movie. Which movie that also would come like months after the movie is released. 2 weeks later in a theater, the movie is in OTT platforms. You can literally pay thanks to UPI in seconds. So because so much convenience, like Zepto ne jo kara hai 10 minute wala, like so much convenience has come to our life, getting to a point of satisfaction is so simple. They're like, why do I need another human? Dot, the app that I was talking about.
Yeah.
If you get used to this app, it genuinely feels like you're talking to a human. It's so kind. I'm sure there will come a very dystopian point in the future where I'll be speaking with an application and I'm happy. It is fulfilling the need of understanding me. It can let me speak without interrupting me, which by the way, most of your friends I'm sure will do. So I feel that is going to be sadly not the nicest things which technology and AI has done to our world.
I'm sure you have because you're a movie lover. Have you watched the movie Her?
I have, and Dot makes me feel like my girlfriend when she hears me speak to Dot. She's like, you're reminding me of
Joaquin Phoenix from Her.
My reply to her was, the voice is still not of
Scarlett Johansson.
So till the time that doesn't happen, I'm good.
But do you think this is a rather scary, not so far away future that we are heading into?
Oh, I think it's here. I think it's very much here. I think the problem is not whether the future is here. The problem is always adaptability and distribution, which is more and more people aware of this, right? We are aware of this because we're living in the center of at least the technology hub in the country. This app is one of the many examples, right? But it is told to me by somebody who's super deep in tech. But that's not the case when you go to the pockets of India. So I think it will all depend how fast will it reach like that critical mass. When it reaches that critical mass is when it'll become a boon or a problem, like how you'd like to see it.
A boon or a problem, indeed. I think the major ethical question then will come is that quite a few companies might not even inform their users that the person that they're talking to is actually not real. Or agar wo ho, that might be a major problem.
I think that it has started to happen already, by the way. I won't take names, but there are companies who have customer service bots which are completely AI. And because they're so good, they also breathe. They also take the right pauses.
Wow.
It just, like, look at all the AI generated videos that all the content creators are creating. I just created 10 videos with AI yesterday, right? Like just a reference point. Of course, people will still comment. One person will comment AI. But I'm sure if my mother would have seen it, Ayush lag raha hai isko. That's a problem.
No, I agree, because just about like a week back, we were using the platform where I shot for 10 minutes and then we were generating the AI videos out of that. Exactly. And it was spooky. You can't make out. Somebody has to look in really closely, have the knowledge, maybe be an editor, maybe be somebody from content. तब जाके शायद उनको पता चलेगा lip sync का movement देख के. But otherwise you really can't make it out.
My DP is AI.
On WhatsApp?
On WhatsApp.
Insta वाला भी नहीं, वो तो real है.
AI
वो भी AI लग रहा था मुझे.
The thing is with AI ना, when you ask is this AI, then you're like AI. But when you don't ask this question and when you just encounter that in your daily life, and AI is the worst, that it ever can be. Like, it will only get better from here. So imagine at its worst, AI today can generate confusing results, if not the best realistic results. It is already scary. So if I don't ask you whether it's AI or not, there's a good chance that you'll just see the picture and you'll show. It may be a bad edited picture. You'll just ignore that and move on. That's scary.
What are some of the things that you've used which makes you say that at this point of time, AI is in its worst state?
I mean, that's a statement which is very popular on the web, right? I actually think it is amazing. When I say it's at the worst state, is to tell people who are not believers in AI that it will, imagine agar ye abhi kar sakta hai, if it can do this right now, imagine what it can do a year later. And technology always exponentially scales. It never scales linearly, always exponential. Like we were discussing some, for example, work that we're doing in Gen AI, right? We created an AI jingle creator for Vodafone Idea. They were good 8 on 10 jingles, right? In terms of if I rate them, they're solid 8 on 10. There's one way to look at it, okay, they're not the best. But another perspective is, what are you saying? Without any human intervention, I can write lyrics, make music, combine it together in the context of the business for which I'm making the jingle for, and it's 8 on 10. Change in perspective, right? We have done these bots. We have made this shopping bot for a D2C brand where you come in and you can talk to the bot like how a shopkeeper would assist you. Like, how does a shopkeeper assist you, right? You go to a shop and you tell them कि यार मैं ना बाली जा रहा हूँ, वहाँ पे ना पहाड़ भी है, वहाँ पे बीच भी है, कुछ ना मुझे एक जैकेट भी दिखा दे जो मुझे मेरी बॉडी शेप पे अच्छी लगे. But ऐसे this is not how you speak with Amazon, but you can speak like this with an AI, and it will give you the things which are good for you, which is very curated. So we've done a bunch of experiments in fields. We have made an AI chatbot for Boat for Women's Day, which was really interesting. So we are already using it across multiple things, and I think it's amazing. All I'm saying is, it is the worst that it can ever be, which means it will only get exponentially better. So you better hop onto the AI train ASAP. You're already late. So better learn it fast.
Let's talk about AI in advertisements.
Yeah.
Just about like, I think a couple of days back, Coca-Cola launched, maybe you came across this advertisement.
I've seen.
Exactly. It's a reenactment of an iconic ad that they made in 1995. The only difference is this time around, the entire advertisement is made out of AI.
Yeah.
And social media did not take lightly to it. The reactions are very serious. They are saying it's spooky. They're saying it's lifeless. It's lazy filmmaking. The context of the ad is the upcoming Christmas season. And they're saying you've used computers to generate the Christmas spirit. Sorry, not happening. And this is not the only case. I think about like in June this year, there's this Western brand called Toys R Us that teamed up with OpenAI's Sora and made another ad which was with kids and toys, but again, completely AI generated. And the reactions from viewers were same, creepy. Why do you think companies and brands, especially in the West, are so gung-ho about AI usage even when it is not at all times working?
I think they're doing the right thing. If you don't hop onto a technological train fast enough, you're going to be left behind. But there's more nuance to it. Let's understand why Coca-Cola is doing it. The fact that we are talking about it, the purpose is solved.
Pretty much, yeah.
So right now, most people are doing these AI-generated films because it's the trend. It is the best way to get to PR. Will you write in the caption, this video was edited in Premiere Pro? I used Photoshop to make this design. No, right?
No.
But you used all those softwares. Right now, people are saying it's AI generated because it is a word, it is a buzzword. It is a word that grabs attention. I feel in the future, and how we are also using this within OWL, it won't be about whether this video is AI generated or not. It will be AI was used in assisting the person making that video. For example, if you click a picture for all the people who are in media, they would know the software Lightroom. It's a software used for editing a picture. We never talk about how most pictures are edited in Lightroom. They make like a bazillion amount of changes. The world is now just used to it. There was a time when people used to say real photography, still film photography. You have to have, there is an audience, but that audience is becoming small. Large part of the audience is clicking pictures on their phone or a DSLR or a camera, and they're editing it in Lightroom, right? They're using it as a tool. Similarly, I feel there will be parts of filmmaking which will be automated by AI. If there is a software which gives you a storyboard very quickly within seconds, why do you need a storyboarding artist sketching? Now, there's a whole another debate about people losing jobs, all of that, which I won't get into, because I genuinely believe that the smarter people who hop onto this train fast will be able to figure out different jobs within the same ecosystem, because humans will still be needed. It is just that their involvement will tweak, their involvement will be changed. Similarly, in the shoot, the future of AI is not replacement of a shoot. The future of AI is you won't have this set. You'll be putting the set in AI. We will probably still talk.
Thank God my job is still intact for a few more years.
Yeah. There is a very interesting video online of this guy recording a podcast in 2 separate countries. But thanks to AI, he combined the background. But he didn't just use AI. AI was used in parts of the processes. He used fundamentals of CGI and VFX. He used the correct lighting. He used the right way to shoot. Then he used, of course, the edit software. But AI was part of the process. So honestly, Coca-Cola, in my opinion, is doing it for PR. But in the future, if you think, nahi, main real filmmaker hu, main AI use karunga, sorry, you're gonna get soon. You'll be very, very outdated. Why don't you think of it as a tool, just like Premiere Pro, Lightroom? Use it as a tool. Use it to assist your process, not to change your process, not to be like, this is AI generated, this is not AI generated. I'll give another example. We recently used it to change one frame in a video. That is the use of AI, where you use things within a video that you would already make, but you're using it in the workflow to make it faster.
Can you tell us about the AI campaign that OWL did with RCB?
So with RCB, we didn't do an AI campaign, we did a tech campaign. We made a really interesting 3D interactive shopping experience, which were connected to games. So you'd go to this experience during IPL. There were 3 games. There was a stick cricket game, there was a cards game, there was a live score predictor. Each time you sort of play a game, it's connected to the D2C store. So there's a leaderboard. So you live win a game, live get a reward, and order the product. It was a very one of a kind campaign that was done, and then of course we did a social shoot to sort of promote it. The AI campaign that we did with Boat was this really interesting campaign on Women's Day. The thought was very interesting thanks to the amazing Boat team. They are really like great thinkers. But the thought was that in 2024 there are still Bollywood songs which has lyrics where women are objectified, which makes no sense. And there are interviews where people talk about how no, but this word was needed. This word rhymed. What other word you would use? So to take a jab at this, we made an AI tool where if you would input a Bollywood song, it would identify all the words which are which are not nice and tweak those words while retaining the rhyme scheme, while retaining the meaning, while retaining the fun of the song. So the PR line was that Bollywood didn't do it, so we did. So it was a very smart campaign. Again, AI was a part of it, but the thought was more important than AI. AI was just an implementation mechanism. But that was a very interesting campaign, gained a lot of popularity on PR and just in the creator economy. This was one campaign that we did on AI, and we've done a bunch since then. But this one is pretty cool.
When I was doing research on the early years of Owl, I came across really big names, companies like Cred, Disney+hotstar, as in the first year, in the first few months itself. How were you able to get such big clients in the first few months of work itself?
3-4 things helped. Number one was I was in the industry already, right? So that gave me access to some people. So that. Second was my stubborn behavior and stubborn nature that I will not work with a small company. I will work with a big company because I knew the kind of money that I wanted. A lot of freelancers today I want to be a 7-figure, 6-figure, 8-figure freelancer. I want to be this person who makes a lot of money. And then they're like, why is my client not paying? Who is the client? The client is this, person who himself is not making money. How will the person give you money if the company does not have money? If you ask a company like Owl for a lot of money, we're not the richest people out there. How can we pay you the top dollar, right? The people who pay top dollar to these freelancers are these larger companies or in growth stages, right? So second was that, which I was stubborn. Third was I had a really nice strategy to bring value to large companies. Like, to Cred, we sold an AR filter first, not a video service, and video was our core. Because video बेचने के लिए तो बहुत सारे लोग थे उनके पास. So my entry point was very unique. And to this date, I try to keep my entry points in companies very unique so that they always look at me very differently. So a bunch of things helped us get like really big names to our portfolio.
The creative industry is cutthroat competitive. How do you see yourself, or Owl for that matter, evolve constantly? And how important is that?
Yeah, really important. I think every 6 months we learn something new and implement something new. You have to be... Nikhil Kamath said this in a really nice... He articulated it really well, which is any industry which is passionate, you should not enter. Like any industry where passionate people are there, you should not enter. I am very passionate about the work that I do. But if I was not, oh God, I shouldn't be in this industry. Nobody who's not passionate should be in the agency or the marketing business, because it is not the most rewarding business from that lens in terms of monies and initial success. There's a lot of hard work, you have to push through a lot. However, if you are passionate, it's amazing. So I feel your advantage becomes your passion. In industries like this, it is cutthroat, but at the same time, let me ask you a question. Can you name 10 brands, social media, who are truly killing it? Like brands that you would want to follow. Maybe you can mention a Zomato, but can you mention 10?
Zomato, Durex, Swiggy sometimes. Muscle Blaze is doing quite well, but I think 10 I'll find it difficult.
Right. 10 you find difficult. 20? Even
20 तो भाई बैठ के लिखना पड़ेगा.
Impossible. But we know so many companies exist out there. Social media agency, such an old business. Still people are not able to crack it. You ask these brand managers, do you have a great social media agency? Most of them are like, nahi, bas chal raha hai. It's happening. Right? So you look at, the thing is, look at ad films. Some of the most iconic ad films, have they been in the last 5 years, or do you still remember the washing powder Nirma?
Oh, washing powder Nirma.
Fevicol ads are still spoken about. Of course, people are still making great ads, but number of great ads has not exponentially gone up.
I agree.
Correct? There are great ads still, but वही 5-10 ही बनती हैं साल की.
But would you agree with this that the number of great ads, the kind of storytelling in advertisements has kind of gone down? The quality of storytelling has gone down.
1000%.
है ना?
And I'll tell you why this is even sadder, because the number of ad films produced has gone high. Number of content pieces has gone high. But still the number of great ads and great content pieces, that has somehow more or less stayed the same or not grown at the same pace.
True.
That's not, there's something wrong in the ecosystem, right? I'll tell you what is wrong from my perspective. Number one, people are optimizing too much for immediate growth. CMOs are spending less time in companies. Earlier, CXOs would spend so long, so they would focus on long-term brand building. Today, a CMO comes and very rightly so says, I'm going to probably spend 2 years, 1 year in this company. Let me try and make the impact 3 months. And it's not their fault, because CEO has told them, I need the result in 3 months, in 6 months. So because we've innately become impatient, we don't focus on brand building. We focus on things which immediately give us results. So they would be like, हाँ कुछ wacky कर दो. Like there are so many brands who do like these wacky campaigns, but it doesn't suit their brand tonality at all. Just because one brand has done something wacky and funny, that doesn't mean everybody needs to do something wacky and funny. That's not how advertising ever worked. Some of the best ads that we remember are these deeply emotional ads, right? So CMO tenures, I think, causes this. In general, platforms like Meta and Google, because they incentivize these quick gratification loops, you're like, पहले 6 सेकंड में फटाफट ब्रांड डाल दे, भूल जा बाकी सब. जबकि one of the best ads an ad that I really like is this ad जो IPL के first season में हुई थी शायद. There was an ad with twins, and you don't get to know what the ad is about until the American half.
Right at the end, it's called Manoranjan Ke Baap.
हाँ, correct. What an incredible ad.
Amazing.
End में.
The examples, so sorry I cut you.
Go.
The examples that you given, ads which were made long back, but such incredible storytelling ads, is that one ad where that little kid runs away from his house, and then the postmaster comes to the railway station platform and says, Mummy ne to jalebi banaya, and he goes, Jalebi, and then walks back. You remember that ad, right?
I do.
Exactly.
So, because platforms don't incentivize, content like this anymore, so it's a lot of things. But it's a sign of worry. It's a big sign of worry for a lot of us. Ki just people are not making great ads anymore.
You're a creator yourself. Take me through the creator economy. Do you think we are not far away from that time when budgets, say for mainstream advertisements like the print and the media and the film stars, will soon be coming in level with budgets for digital promotion and promotions through influencers and promotions through creators?
They already are. There are brands which are working with us, which are literally keeping similar budgets for celebrities. People are dropping celebrities. Again, it's happening on a very small scale. There is still time when creator economy truly gains a kind of traction where we get like great mainline budgets, which print and TV all used to get. Creator economy is going to be, we've just scratched the surface of what it will be. Like at Lit School, one of the reasons I and all the other co-founders started Lit is because we believe in the creator economy so much. And our bet is that because more and more people would want to become a creator, we need to be the ones helping them get onto that path quickly and more easily. So I believe in it fully. That's why I've invested my time, energy, money, everything into this. In terms of how this will evolve, there will be multiple things that will happen. Some good, some bad. The things with creators is a lot of the creators will become irrelevant faster than celebrities. Because a celebrity you would see 2 times, 3 times in a movie theater, you would get a celebrity house tour used to be a big thing.
I'm so sorry, a celebrity?
A celebrity house tour.
Oh yes.
मन्नत का हाउस टूर हो जाएगा ना, अभी मिलियन व्यूज तो 1 घंटे में आ जाएंगे.
Guarantee.
बट क्रिएटर के तो घर पे की वीडियो बन रही है सारी. मतलब I'm just giving a reference point that
true.
You know everything about creator is your online best friend, right? Online good friend, whatever you want to call it. And because you're seeing that every single day or every other day or every third day, you become used to, and then after one you become bored. Kya theek hai, abhi next. With celebrities which were like actors, with them this process was a bit more longer because you wouldn't see them so often. So this is the first thing that will happen to creators, which they will have to figure out.
Address.
But this also means a lot of newer creators will have the opportunity to become big. Second really interesting thing to observe in the creator economy is there are a lot of untapped niches. Like the reason I feel we have only scratched the surface is because there are so many niches on which just good content is not there. Let's take movies. There are just not enough. There's just not enough good movie discussion forums online. There are critics which are using fancy words to review a movie.
And during a lot of those reviews, you can make it out it's a paid one.
Yeah, it's so like easy to do that. I'm like, but why are there not like at least 20 podcasts discussing movies? Why are there no 20 debate shows online? There's no debate show. Why is there no debate show? That format works super well on TV. More and more IPs like India's Got Latent will evolve. So a lot of these creators will create IPs, create TV-like shows, and I truly think that YouTube is the next TV because it's the same phenomenon. हर Wednesday कुछ video आ रही है, हर Wednesday TV पे episode आ रहा है. Similar segmentations, right? So this is something which the creators will have to evolve. Another trend that will come in the creator economy will be creator building businesses on top of their distribution. Let's see what becomes successful and what not. People have built very, very big digital businesses on top of their distribution, whether that's agencies or courses. Ankur is a great example. Anything digital has been successful. What we are yet to see is, can the same success come to product businesses? Product businesses have not seen incredible level of successes. There are still exceptions, but it's not become a norm for a creator to come in and launch a product business. But I do think that this is also going to be an area of interest for a lot of creators. So these are a few things that are interestingly happening. From the brand side, what a brand needs to understand is that a creator is not a walking billboard. You can't treat a creator's distribution like a billboard कि मैंने बोल दिया कि पहले इस्तेमाल करें फिर विश्वास करें अभी इससे बुलवाता हूँ मैं. That's not how creator economy and influencer marketing will work. You're not just paying for the creator's distribution, but you're also paying for the creator's thought process, scripting, creation of the content. So another thing which will grow is brands learning this and then giving the creators more freedom to create content the way they create and integrating their brand also. And brands will start to purchase media rights of the video that the creator creates. Because influencer marketing is not just about reaching the right person, but you also made a really sexy piece of content. Why don't you purchase the rights and run this as an ad? So this is already seeing a big uptick. This will see a lot more uptick in the future as well. So these are some trends, some observations of the creator economy, and I think a lot is yet to come. I am placing a big bet of my life to distribution. And distribution is everything. Thanks to AI and technology, building digital products, apps, software is also getting easier and easier. So a lot of changes are going to happen, and distribution is going to become, always was the king, but is going to become probably the king,
If you look at the recent most Ormax report, Bhuvan Bam made the most successful transition from YouTube to OTT. Do you have a name in mind from one of the new Gen Z creators that you see have the potential to be able to do that?
Many. A person who is a close friend and has truly made a incredible mark is Apurva. So I don't know if I can talk about it a lot, but she's going to do this very soon. So she will be part of bigger projects. She is going to successfully do it, and she has an audience which is, we were traveling together and I've seen a video upload by her get like 1 lakh views in like minutes.
Wow.
Sorry, 1 lakh likes in minutes.
Wow, that's bigger. Wow.
Sorry, 1 lakh likes. It's mind-boggling. The kind of distribution, brand love, connect with the audience that she has been able to do and create is amazing. So, yeah.
Which brings me back to the relatability factor. When we see Apurva, there's a massive relatability factor. So I think that plays a key role, doesn't it?
It does. But I asked her the same question, but then she replied with a really smart answer. She's like, Ayush, sorry, but my life is not relatable anymore. It was relatable 3 years ago when I didn't have money. I was making videos from a small room. I am now in the best club in Europe, but people are still watching.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's relatability, but it's your ability to tell a story in an authentic manner. She's not being fake. She's
True.
the same off camera. She's very kind. She's very authentic. She never, all of these incredible stories that she tells, she's actually experienced those in real life. She's a great storyteller. So I don't think it's relatability, but it's the way you tell the story which I think defines authenticity.
All right, Ayush, we are almost towards an end of the podcast. I just have 2 more essay type questions to ask you.
Okay.
But we'll keep the answers short. Before we let you go, we have to ask you this question because you yourself are such a success story. If you are asked one piece of advice for budding entrepreneurs who want to do something in India, take it to the world, what will that advice be?
I've given the same answer 10 times in a lot of podcasts. So I'm going to give the same, which is be shameless in asking for help. Be shameless in asking for help. You will get more no's than you will get yeses, but that's how life works, because only a few yeses are needed to completely change your life. So it's okay if you're getting 100 no's, but be very shameless in asking for help. Don't take no's personally. Just go and ask. You'll be surprised that there are enough and more people to help. So that's the only advice which I also follow. We're right now in the process of pivoting out a little bit, and I have been going through a bit of I wouldn't call it a hard time, but it is stressful, and it is you're back to hustling like you're hustling day zero, with the company growing now, so the responsibility is more. And the only advice that I'm giving myself every day is ask for help, whether it's asking for help from people, from it's smaller things, just it really helps.
No great chat can end without a good rapid fire.
Okay.
And I have the perfect
that.
guest for that. So we are going to end the chat with our rapid fire round.
Okay.
Ayush, are you ready?
I don't know. Now I'm now 2 hours into a recording, so I hope I can give good enough answers.
No. We are very sure that it's going to be great answers. Chaliye, the rapid fire questions start. If not filmmaking, what career would you have pursued?
Anything in travel.
AI assistant for personal life, what's going to be the first thing that you would automate?
Telling my maid what to cook. It irritates the hell out of me. I don't want to talk to people about food. I love the most boring menu. So somebody sorting out food.
And now all the more because I know you're a fellow gym rat.
I love the gym.
Yeah, exactly. A place or a city that inspires your creativity?
Bombay. Oh man. Mumbai is amazing. I know it's a very generic answer, but it is very good. Sorry, but it's amazing.
Was there a specific reason why to launch Owl in Bangalore instead of Bombay?
Strategic reason. Felt it's a better place for business. But I would have loved to do it in Bombay. Yeah.
Most absurd idea for a project that you never really considered to execute?
Oh wow. There is a really absurd idea that we are working on right now. I wish I could talk about it. But let me think. Yeah, it's so sad that some of the most absurd ideas we never get to execute, and then we're not allowed to speak about it. Very tricky to answer this.
But one that is about to come. So we'll keep our eyes out.
Yeah, one is about to come in January. It is amazing.
If you guys can't figure it out, the minute the campaign is out, we'll make a video and we'll tell you that this is what Ayush was talking about. Weirdest client demand?
Every day, we just got a client demand that he wanted, I don't know, there's so many. I don't know if it's weirdest, but he's like, the video can't exceed 5 or 10 MB because I don't have enough space on my phone.
You're joking.
So please send smaller videos that I can review faster. A very legitimate demand if you think about it. It's a very logical demand. But when I saw it, I'm like, it makes sense, but it just, okay, we'll figure.
Like this is something I would expect my sister to say, not really a client.
Yeah, so we have gotten, but yeah, we believe in, I really believe in servicing. So a lot of a lot of people in the agency business don't follow this, but I just take a lot of inspiration from the hospitality industry. When you go to a 5-star hotel, the way they make you feel, you will break the glass, but they will say sorry.
No, absolutely.
And I know it sounds that why are people doing it? I know people's ego come in the way, but I'm telling you, leaving people with a smile has a huge impact.
2 of your favorite content creators.
Ganesh, thinks cool, love him, and Jivraj, he runs Indian Silicon Valley, amazing content. But because all my friends are content creators, so with a disclaimer that I love all of them. I really like Tarni's content. I think she's a Gen Z content creator who is truly unique. She runs this thing called Tea with Tarni, where she's so candid about her thoughts. It's amazing.
Last 2 questions of the rapid fire. A movie that you would recommend every budding entrepreneur founder to watch.
I can tell you a book.
Please.
It's called Never Split a Difference. It's my favorite book. I'm not a reader, but it's one book that I've read multiple times. It's a book on negotiation. I think as an entrepreneur, sales is a very critical skill, but so is negotiation. You need to negotiate with a lot of people on a lot of things. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. That's the book.
One Indian or Hindi movie that you recently watched and thoroughly enjoyed.
I told you, 12th Fail. What an amazing movie.
Phenomenal film.
Loved it. Even Lapata Ladies. Really liked it. And I don't know why did people not like Jigra, but I actually like Jigra. So
I'm yet to watch it, but now I will.
yeah, because I don't know. I think मुझे बहुत अच्छे लगे. एक तो लोगों ना थोड़ी slow movies नहीं पसंद इंडिया में. The minute anything gets slow, I think people lose attention span नहीं है. I wouldn't say it's the best movie ever, but I liked they explored a unique theme. It was unique in just 20 different ways, and I love Vasan Bala. There is a movie called Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota. So very few people have watched that movie.
Which is such a shame.
Such a shame. It's such an amazing movie. So I think just because of Vasan Bala, can you please go watch Jigra so that he gains some traction?
Absolutely. And after this movie, he made Monica, Oh My Darling.
Yeah.
And then Jigra. So yeah, incredible filmmaker. Final question, Ayush. If you have to use one word to describe the future that AI holds for India and the world.
One word. One word is exciting. And please look at it with optimism. More than one word, my only sort of, like a line to people would be, look at it with optimism. Stop looking at it as a pessimist. You will accomplish a lot more if you're an optimist in this world, in the world of AI.
Guys, there's a phrase which goes like this, that when you're having a good time, then you absolutely lose track of time. I think we have been rolling here for the last 150 minutes, 2.5 hours. Ayush, time ka pata hi nahi chala. What an absolute pleasure it was to talk to you. How's it for you?
Thank you so much. You're amazing at what you do. In fact, I forgot a very critical thing. So we all know, because we had to cut the recording for a minute. So that's a sign of how good the conversation was. I really hope the audience gains value, because मुझे लग रहा है हमने बस हम दोनों के लिए बातें कर ली हैं, तो शायद कोई देख के उनको अच्छा लगे. But I really liked chatting with you.
Thank you so much, Ayush. It was an absolute pleasure to have you here. And we are dead sure that the audience is going to get a lot of value out of this. Tell us about all of that in the comments below. And do not forget to subscribe to The Hot Seat by A Media House to watch more content just like this. This is me, your friend Korak. I will see you in the next one.